My name is Esther Abner Danswa-Mwakum, and I appear here on behalf of Mr. Anthony Lightfinger on this matter. My plea mitigation today will initially focus on the offense of burglary by addressing the relevant provisions of the sentencing guidelines. And then I will deal with Mr. Lightfinger's personal mitigating circumstances. The aim of my plea mitigation today is to persuade the court to impose a high-end community order and a fine. Before we go any further, Your Honor, have you had the opportunity to go through the pre-sentence report? I'm grateful. Mr. Anthony Lightfinger has shown a great deal of remorse after the conviction of this offense and has entered a guilty plea on the 5th of February 2022 at the Magistrate Court. The relevant sentencing guidelines for the offense can be found on the Sentencing Guideline Council's page at www.sentencingcouncil.org.uk. In relation to culpability, I will submit that this offense falls within the lesser culpability category C for the following reasons. First, the offense was committed on impulse. There was no planning to this offense. Secondly, no weapon was used. Lastly, Mr. Lightfinger was highly intoxicated, a reason he does not remember what happened that night. In relation to harm, I will submit that this offense falls into the lowest culpability for the following reasons. First, there was no physical or psychological injury to any victim, as there was nobody at the scene. Secondly, goods were stolen, which amounted to £176.40, which can be considered a low value. Lastly, Mr. Lightfinger definitely caused a disturbance to the property when he broke the window to get into the shop. Therefore, the logical conclusion that one should reach is that this offense falls within category 3:C, which can be seen on the Sentencing Guidelines webpage under the heading Non-Domestic Burglary and the subheading Step 2, Starting Point and Category Range. This highlights a sentencing ranging from discharge to a low-level community order. With regards to fine, I would say Mr. Lightfinger's offense falls under Band B and B, which starts from 100% of a relevant weekly income, ranging from 75% to 125% of the relevant weekly income. I will now be moving to the relevant aggravating and mitigating factors. The prosecution has drawn to the court's attention a number of previous convictions and antecedents of Mr. Anthony Lightfinger. I will address them. First, some of the antecedents of Mr. Lightfinger are completely different offenses. These ranges from possession of drugs, shoplifting, and then burglary. This shows that there is a continual pattern of offense in this matter. Also, there are a number of mitigating factors that I would like to draw the court's attention to today. First of which is that the evidence suggests that there was no significant lack of planning. For this offense, Mr. Lightfinger was steaming drunk on the 2nd of February, which happens to be his friend Ben Lookout's birthday. They started drinking at 8 a.m. at Weatherspoon in Bletchley, then moved to 2 different pubs and ended up at Martin Scout's house, who happened to be Ben Outlook's friend. At about late in the night, Mr. Lightfinger had taken 2 bottles of vodka at Mr. Martin's place. He wanted to leave but couldn't find his way because he got lost. He came back to Mr. Martin's apartment and asked Ben to help him find a way. After this incident, he does not remember what happened until he found himself being questioned by the police. My Anna, there was no planning or contemplation, and this was purely a spur of the moment offense. Mr. Lightfinger has expressed significant amount of remorse, especially to Mr. Outlook, because Mr. Outlook never had any conviction. He has no criminal records, and as it stands now, he does have a conviction due to him, as expressed in paragraph 24 of the proof of evidence. Again, Mr. Lightfinger has been showing remorse since the conviction, and today, among other days, he has made similar remarks to me in confidence. And therefore, I will submit to these remorseful marks. I will submit to the court that these remorseful marks be taken into consideration in relation to Mr. Lightfinger's sentence today. Moving away from the offense, relating mitigating factors, I will now focus on Mr. Lightfinger's more personal relevant mitigating factors. Mr. Lightfinger has shown consistent motivation and determination to address his addiction problem and to in fact turn his life around. Your Honor, you will note that Mr. Lightfinger has had significant substance abuse for the majority of his young life, and this is mainly because Mr. Anthony Lightfinger had a very difficult childhood. He has never experienced parental love or care, but rather he witnessed his alcoholic mom being a subject of abuse to his father. Also, Mr. Anthony Lightfinger moved from care homes onto government homes, and never settled with a family. And this has had a very great impact on his life, contributing to this. In paragraph 14 of the proof of evidence, Mr. Lightfinger dissents how his addiction has caused him so much. Also, he states how his addiction to alcohol and drugs was a way of forgetting about his childhood trauma. His offenses, which is mostly acquisitive offenses, could be attributed to the fact that he had to feed his addiction, as he had become addicted to alcohol and drugs, and most of the times he was homeless. However, after his last sentence on the 23rd of January 2018, we can see that Mr. Anthony Lightfinger took steps to make his life better by attending a drug support agency and engaging with Narcotics and Alcoholics Anonymous. And there has been a lot of improvement, as he has been able to secure a flat through the council and even started work as a labourer, where he earns £350 a week. In paragraph 15 of the proof of evidence, Mr. Anthony Lightfinger stated that through this process, he has begun to know himself better and he feels better. As a result, he wants to change. My Anna, he wants to turn over a new leaf, and I will submit that this should be reflected in the sentence imposed by the court today. We can see that Mr. Anthony Lightfinger has been doing well for himself as he wants to change into a new leaf. He has in fact maintained his abstinence and has not taken drugs, used alcohol, or committed crimes in the past 3 years. And this is the longest period he has abstained from using drugs, getting drunk, or staying away from the custody of police. And this therefore shows a significant determination and motivation to turn his life around. I would like the court to reflect this in the sentence today. The court is in no doubt considering to impose a custodial sentence on Mr. Lightfinger today. But I will submit that this would have a detrimental effect on Mr. Lightfinger. Convicting him again is going to make him lose his job and end up losing the house which he was able to acquire through the council. In the end, he will go back into the streets and he might have to steal again in order to feed himself. This will shatter the level of stability that is currently in place for Mr. Lightfinger and would ruin any chances of Mr. Lightfinger developing as an individual within the community. Therefore, Your Honor, I would encourage the court to adopt a sentence that will still allow him to be able to be a better person. Unless I can be of any further assistance, that concludes my submission, Your Honor. Thank you.